Our main objective, I would say, is to produce good quality food whilst farming in an environmentally sensitive way. We're members of Pasture for Life and I've joined their mentoring programme to help us hopefully improve the soil. That's where it all starts. If you don't have good soil, you can't grow good quality grass and forage and you can't produce good quality meat. We've done some work with West Cumbria Rivers Trust to create some ponds which will increase habitat for wildlife, and they've also re-wiggled Dub Beck which flows into Loweswater. We have Belted Galloway cattle and Herdwick sheep. Belted Galloway cattle, they're particularly grass-fed, is a slower growing method of farming anyway, but that's reflected in the final product and the flavour of the meat. We like to give the cattle the opportunity to wander about, form their own social groups, rather than putting them together in a wall area to graze off, which may be a more efficient way, but we're not convinced it's the best way of growing quality meat. There is a lot of bad press about cattle in particular and the amount of methane they produce. Raising cattle on a pasture-based system is very, very different to raising cattle, say, in a feedlot in the United States. How that methane is processed and recycled through their grazing pattern and through the soil produces a very different outcome, and it would be great if there was more science to back it up. The government would support us better in that sense and not blame cattle and sheep for global warming, because that's what it feels like sometimes. We're very pleased to be working with LDF and Lancaster University on the project to look at soil science and how that affects the quality of the grass and the pasture, therefore ultimately the meat that we're producing.
I'm Dr. Laura Giles and I'm from Lancaster University, and I'm working with LDF for the next 2 years on a knowledge transfer partnership to carry out an investigation into the benefits of hill farming, cattle and sheep on an upland farm in the Lake District. So we're going to be taking soil samples across the farm to measure the health of the soil and the potential it has to store carbon now and in the future, and with the farming system that Katharine's employing here in a more sympathetic way with the environment.
The hope is that we can quantify some of these impacts and benefits of soil health and grassland and feed that into a better model that will enable companies to account more accurately for their environmental impact.
My name is Phil Scott and I head up the Sustainability Initiatives for Lake District Farmers. Working with farms and farmers like Katharine and Martin Pinfold are just helping us to see how we change and how we can make farms sustainable, not just from a profit margin, but from a cultural identity perspective as well.
Farmers having to change their farming methods. It's not a vanity project. We want to create farms that are financially viable as well as environmentally sustainable. I'm Katharine Pinfold, and this is why.